don't like this chair. Let me switch this chair real quick.
Switch. You want this one?
I'm like too tall. I'm slouching over.
Yeah, welcome to my world. These are very high quality chairs, as you can see.
Okay, we're back.
We're back.
This one's so much better. There's so much plaster and paint all over it.
Yeah,
but
so
you
much.
know what?
It's like a massaging bumps.
It feels better on my back though.
Yep.
Well, have you watched many Christmas movies this season?
Elf.
Yeah, that's one that I watched.
That's probably one of my favorites.
For sure. I haven't watched Christmas Vacation yet. I'm kind of bummed about it.
I was just talking to my wife about this. Okay. My go-to movies for Christmas, I don't like a lot of Christmas movies. I don't like a lot of Christmas music. But for Christmas movies, I feel like top ones that I could watch every year, Elf.
Christmas Vacation?
Yes. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and Jim Carrey Grinch.
Yes. I watched
good.
2 out of those 3.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Christmas Vacation yet, which is weird because I feel like that one, that's our mom's favorite, is Christmas
100%.
Vacation. She loves that one. I'm surprised, honestly surprised and disappointed in myself that I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. That one will come out next week.
Yeah,
Closer to Christmas.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The one that I just from a kid nostalgia, I want to watch it every time because it makes me feel good. For some reason, it's Polar Express. I don't know what it is about Polar Express. I think it's just a classic. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just
Tom Hanks does good work in that.
Tom Hanks, even though
his 7 characters.
It's like a weird, almost kind of half animated movie. It creeps some people out.
Yeah,
because it looks
it's
realistic.
The early 2000s. Animation.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's something about that movie. Yeah.
The first Santa Claus is pretty good. With Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I like the first one.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of. I even like the third one, kind of, where Jack Frost tries to take over Santa Claus. It's not as good as the first.
Right.
But the second one is the Escape Claus, where he makes the robotic Santa Claus, and then it turns bad. And I wasn't a fan of that one.
No.
The third one, I don't know what it is. It was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing like the first. It's tough to top the first.
Yeah.
Like Cars movies. The Cars movies, the first one's the best.
Yeah, by far.
We could talk all day about best Disney movies ever made. I think Cars is, or at least best Disney movies I've ever seen. Cars is definitely up there.
Yeah,
That's
Cars would be up there.
Top 2, only behind Lion King, in my opinion. New Lion King movie coming out, by the way.
I did see that.
Mufasa.
About
the story of Mufasa and Scar.
Yeah, it should be good. I'm not a big movie guy anymore, but that looks good.
Yeah. I want to watch it. I'm a big Lion King guy.
I think so. I think it'd be cool.
I mean, that has nothing to do with football. We'll get to talking about football here because we got a lot to get to.
We do. Two-man crew.
But I think with the green and red logo, damn it, point it off. If the green and red logo, there you go. Yeah, that's a good point. With the green and red logo, I think we have to do some kind of Christmas music to start it off. We're not going to have an episode next week. We got a first round bye.
We do.
We earned it.
We did. Hard work.
There's just a lot going on Christmas week. You guys all know that. We hope you stay safe and you have a great, happy, healthy, amazing Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah, no episode next week, so we'll have to save all the exciting kind of quick recaps. We'll go through the quick recaps of at least the college football playoff round 1 games because that's going to be important.
Oh yeah.
In 2 weeks, but yeah. We hope you guys have a good one, and we'll.
Christmas football is always good.
Yeah,
starts on Wednesday.
Dude,
Christmas Day.
The NFL, Christmas music, Christmas time really proves that, dude, NFL is king.
NFL is king. Yeah. Ever since they took over Christmas.
NBA, NBA is pissed off.
Oh, 100%.
They're
can't
losing
compete.
Millions of viewers on Christmas because NBA used Christmas Day was their
Christmas,
thing. Yeah, they made Christmas uniforms and everything. It's not now NFL's got Christmas games and it's you're losing millions of viewers.
Oh yeah. Yep. But they can't compete. They can't do anything about it.
You can't do anything about it. No.
NFL is too rich.
Yeah. All right. What Christmas song you want to sing?
I've been thinking about the most popular Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Just because. Because I don't really listen to Christmas music, like I just said. So it depends on how crazy we want to get.
Okay.
I mean, we could go anywhere from classic Jingle Bells.
Yeah.
To Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Walking home from our house Christmas Eve.
You can say there's no such thing as Santa. But as for me and Grandpa, we believe.
That's all I know.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back, everybody. It is episode 61 here. Today is Wednesday, December 18th. And I'm here with Kean Crop, Cody Crop, two-man crew. Today we're going to be doing our NFL Week 15 review. And then we're going to be glazing some folks with that Chris Collinsworth glaze per usual. So we're going to dive right into it. Big episode here talking about all the good football. So we're going to start it off with our Thursday night game. It was the Rams versus the Niners in a kind of stinker of a game. Rams won 12-6, but this is the prime example of the Rams being the most confusing team in the NFL right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Come out and beat the Bills and then barely beat the Niners.
Yeah.
It was just kind of a stinker of a game. Nothing really crazy happened. Puka ended up with a big day. Kyron Williams got an absolute workload with 29 carries. But
second game in a row. Second game in, I guess, 5 days. What is that? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 29 So you got 58 carries in 5 days.
Yeah.
Dude, I bet he's pretty sore.
Yeah, I'd say so.
These games, Rams 49ers are always going to get a ton of attention, ton of lead up, build up beforehand because, it's McVay versus Shanahan. The guys that came from Mike Shanahan, Kyle's dad, from Washington, whenever they were learning the whole system together, where this tree first began, and the records between these two are crazy. Yep. I think Shanahan's
ahead.
Yeah, Shanahan's ahead. I think now it's 10-6.
I think so.
After this Rams win. But this really did not play up to the offensive firepower that we have seen in years past.
Yeah, not at all. There's really not much to say on it except that this helps the Rams because they move up to 8-6, which is what
they're not first in the division.
I was gonna say they aren't first.
No, they passed the Seahawks. They did because they beat the Seahawks. So Seahawks are a little sneak peek, but Seahawks lost also, as you guys probably know. But so now they're both 8-6, but Rams beat the Seahawks once, so they have the tiebreaker as of right now.
Gotcha.
They're gonna have to play again in a Week 18 game that very well could decide the division.
Yeah, I think so.
We saw a dude back in this game though, Dre Greenlaw.
He was back.
Played the first half and. Dude, commentators couldn't stop talking about him.
No.
He's
glazing him.
Dude, he just zips around the field. He had how many? He had 8 tackles and only a half played.
First game back.
Back. He's just fun to watch, man. He hits hard. He's the thunder to go along with Fred Warner's lightning. I've said that before. But other than that, defensive performances. We saw Hufanga make some plays in this game too.
Yes.
49ers defense is getting healthy. Now the offense is not at all. Kittle you can't gloss over the fact that Kittle's had a great year.
You can't stop Kittle right now.
Yeah, you really can't stop Kittle. Some dude who is completely stoppable that really hurts my heart to say, but Deebo Samuel sucks this year.
Yep.
He doesn't look like him. He's lost a step. He can't break tackles anymore.
He
can't catch
the ball.
He can't catch the ball. Debo's probably gone next season. I don't picture him being on this 49ers team anymore.
I don't think so either.
And Puka, as you said, Puka's definitely the wide receiver 1 on this team.
By far away.
Not that Cooper Kupp is not good, but Puka he makes some crazy catches. He gets open. Dude is a fighter. He's very strong.
Very strong.
Very strong. And one other guy I have to shout out. You guys know I'm a Kyron Williams guy, but his yards per carry hasn't been great this year. But if you just watch the game, he runs hard. Those are all hard fought yards. He gets hit at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then as a 194-pound running back, he has to push for an extra 3-4 yards. Yeah. A lot of times he gets it. Kyron has a stranglehold on this backfield, and McVay loves the guy. So I think he's 29 carries. But we don't know what we're gonna get from the Rams. Obviously, 49ers they're done. But Rams, I don't know what we're gonna get every week.
I have no idea. No. I guess you just can't bet against Stafford.
No, you really can't.
Yeah. Next game, Commanders-Saints. The Commanders ended up winning 20-19 in a game that ended with a little bit of controversy with the whole clock situation.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just jump right to that because that's really what most people are going to remember. So their Saints needed a touchdown. It was 20-13.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously Saints needed a touchdown. Time was running out. And tell you what, Spencer Rattler walked that team down the field. That last drive was very impressive and very well done. And very well executed down even to the touchdown pass. It was a good pass, good play, and executed perfect. And then Rizzy, their coach, decided, like, hey, let's just go for 2, which I don't hate because Saints are done anyways. Like, let's just try to win this thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can see so easily that you don't have the pieces to go up, to go, like, maybe a whole nother quarter with the Commanders' offense. Like, you can see that your offense is nothing like theirs. You're lucky to have Rattler playing this well in this drive. Like, keep him out there while he's hot.
Yeah, exactly. So they go for 2, and inevitably it does not end up working. Throws a little outside. Kind of a good defense by the Commanders. They were all over the guys, but that's how it ended. But how it ended, getting to that last play for the touchdown, there was 9 seconds on the clock, and then the clock just somehow magically stopped for like 4 seconds or 3 seconds or something like that, which was goofy. I don't know. It made no sense, but obviously people are mad about it. But Commanders ended up winning, so everything's okay. But so that was a little odd, but ultimately Commanders ended up winning. It was a tighter game than most thought it might be because the Saints have been so bad, and Commanders with Jaden Daniels have been riding pretty hot most games. So the Commanders came out rolling hot. They scored 2 touchdowns. Scary Terry had 2 touchdowns in the first half, and Daniels had a pretty decent game with some good rushes, and but didn't really have a spectacular pass game. But he was getting a lot of pressure from the Saints pass rush and sacks. I forget how many sacks he took. But
he's credited with 8, but I was sitting there watching this with Carson, and Carson's like, because Carson watches Jaden Daniels pretty closely. He's a big Jaden Daniels guy all the time from back whenever we all liked him from scouting. Carson just has him on his fantasy team, so he absolutely loves the guy. But Jaden Daniels runs out of bounds at the line, is chased out of bounds at the line of scrimmage like more than anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they know they have a spy on him at all times now.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. It was kind of a rough day, a little bit for Jaden Daniels, except for those 2 first half Scary Terry touchdowns. But let's just go to the Saints side. First, they tried to start Jake Haener. Couldn't do absolutely anything at all. Rattler came in the second half, and he provided a real spark for that Saints team to even keep them anywhere close in the game. And really, I don't.
Stats don't show it, but he made some plays.
Yeah, stats don't show it at all. He made some plays. He made some rushes. He was able to move and be on the move and make throws on the move, which was something Haener wasn't proving to be able to do at all.
Nope.
But yeah, stats obviously aren't going to be great this game in a scoring affair like this. But a combination of the Saints pass rush and Rattler coming in is ultimately what kept the Saints in the game. And also what really helped as a little bonus was the miss by Greg Joseph. The missed field goal by Greg Joseph at near the end of the fourth quarter, I think with 4 or 6 minutes left, something like that, to keep it the 1-score game. If he would have kicked that field goal there and made it, it would have been a little different ball game when it came down to that end like that. But nothing really crazy in this game. But Rattler honestly looked pretty good. He could be the guy going forward if he keeps playing like that. But the rest of the Saints team, except for maybe that pass rush, is pretty tough right now.
Yeah. Rattler, he's definitely the starter for the rest of the season, and that's, I think, where they're going to – Saints are going to have a new coach. I don't imagine that Darren Rizzi is going to get the Antonio Pierce treatment of getting to keep his job, getting an extension, and now Antonio Pierce might end up being fired anyways. But I don't think Darren Rizzi is going to be the guy next year, and a lot of times head coaches, whenever they come in, they want to draft their own guy. So But Spencer Rattler is going to get another second shot of the season to really prove himself and see if he is going to be at least in the quarterback competition for next year.
Yeah.
But he did make some plays, and the stats don't really show it. They don't do it justice.
One thing I forgot about, so did Cedric Wilson. Dropped an absolute dime to Alvin Kamara in the corner. That was pretty.
He might be in the quarterback competition.
that was a nice pass. But that's about it for that game.
Yeah, we'll move on to a game that you could describe this game as drunk.
Yeah.
Bengals won in Nashville 37-27. In this game total, there were turnovers. There were 10 turnovers in this game.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, there were a total of 26 penalties that went for 223 yards total. This game was absolutely crazy. Every time I took a glance at it, watching NFL Sunday Ticket, somebody was throwing an interception. Somebody was fumbling the ball. Will Levis had 3 interceptions. Joe Burrow had 2 interceptions. Mason Rudolph came in. He threw an interception. Fumbles, as far as those go, Burrow lost a fumble. Jordan Battle intercepted a pass from Levis, I want to say it was. And as he was about to run across the goal line, we saw this a few times this week.
Yeah.
Dropped it right at the goal line, rolled out the back of the end zone, touchback, other team. He lost a fumble. Tony Pollard lost a fumble. Will Levis lost a fumble. Tavondre Sweat got a fumble recovery.
That guy's a beast.
My guy,
Love that.
6'4", 370 pounds of him. He picks it. He just ball bounces into his hands.
Yeah,
he starts running.
Yeah.
He threw a mean stiff arm. He was moving. I mean, wasn't moving that fast at 370 pounds, but he was like a freight train.
He was moving, yeah. I mean, who is, like, we talk about not wanting to tackle Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
You may not want to tackle Tavondre Sweat, but, like, how do you even go about tackling Tavondre Sweat? Except for diving in his legs.
You can hope you trip him up.
That's about it. He's a massive human being.
It's like knocking down a tower. It was
so big.
That was so fun to watch. I was screaming at the TV. I was so pumped up watching him run. He's like, go, go, go. It was great.
It was awesome.
But, I mean, outside of those 2 picks, Burrow didn't really make too many mistakes. Burrow still went 26-37 for 271 yards and 3 touchdowns. Chase Brown has been on a nice streak as well. He rushed for 25 carries, 97 yards, and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, he's going to be your offensive player of the year, barring anything crazy that happens, because he went 11 targets, 9 catches, 94 yards in this game. T. Higgins also played a good part here. Will Levis, after throwing those 3 picks, didn't get sacked. It seems like with Will Levis every single week, you either get about 6 sacks or you get like 3 interceptions. There is no game where you can get no sacks, no interceptions. You got to get one or the other. In this game, it was interceptions, so they benched him.
Yep.
Benched him for Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is going to be the starter for the rest of the season. Not that it really matters anyway on a 3-11 Titans team. But Mason Rudolph did come in, threw for 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, threw a pick himself, as I said. Tony Pollard couldn't get anything going on the ground. Tajay Spears was the leading receiver on this in this game.
Yeah.
He played more than he usually has the rest of the season. Tony Pollard's banged up with an ankle injury. Was questionable coming into this game. So Tajay Spears got some more run, and in the receiving game, it definitely worked. He went 6 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Chig, after not doing anything all year, Chig Okonkwo went 8 catches, 59 yards. But yeah, this game was just drunk. Like a ton of yards, a ton of turnovers, and quite a few points, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a case where, like, both defenses are bad. Bengals offense is at least good. But, I mean, whenever you get, like, bad defense, somewhat good offense, even from the Titans, like, you're just going to have a crazy game, and that's exactly what we saw. But, like, Bengals went 10 of 13 on third down.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Both teams had at least 370 total yards.
Yeah.
They were moving the ball. It's just they were throwing touchdowns to their team, their other team.
Yeah.
But, yeah, as I said, this game was drunk. Fun to watch for sure. Comedic.
Yeah.
From many, many aspects. Fumbling the ball at the goal line. Tavondre Sweat trying to run back a fumble recovery touchdown. Fun to watch, but from like an analysis perspective, you can't really take a whole lot away from this game.
No, they were just in the Christmas spirit of giving. Early.
That's exactly what it was.
Just giving it to everybody.
That's literally what it was. Yeah.
Moving on to the Dolphins-Texans. Texans beat the Dolphins at home 20-12, and the Texans' DeMeco Ryans defense is back, baby, and that's what ultimately won the game for them. The Texans defense played lights out this game and just carried the whole team. Anytime C.J. Stroud made a little mistake or anything like that, the Texans would end up getting a pick or something like that, and they just ended up icing the game with a pick by Derek Stingley Jr., who had 2 in this game. An absolute dog. So this was more or less obviously by the score. I talked about the Texans defense. This was kind of an all defensive game. Just with some exciting plays thrown in. That's kind of what it felt like. All defense with like, hey, here's a cool touchdown, or like, hey, here's a turnover to throw in there. And but the Texans turnover differential, I think it was like +4 in this game. It was either +3 or 4 in this game, and their points off of
+3.
Okay, +3, and then they got points off those turnovers, which is what really helped them because it puts them in decent field position. And just any time that your team can benefit off of a turnover, it ups your chances of winning the game by quite a bit. Miami's still struggling on offense to find their footing. Like they had some promising plays in there, but they only scored 12 points, so that kind of speaks for itself. And the picks by them and a fumble here and just all the turnovers didn't really fare well for that Dolphins team. So just when we think they're maybe getting it moving, they'll go up against one of the best defenses in the league and prove that, all right, we aren't there yet. No. Tua was 29 for 40, 196 yards, 1 touchdown, but those 3 picks I talked about. A-Chain couldn't get anything going on the ground. Their leading receiver was Malik Washington, who's done good things for him lately. He's been pretty good, 5 for 52. Jonnu had another decent game for him, 9 for 48 and a touchdown, but the other guys, there wasn't much there. Even on the Texans side, they were lucky to win, is what it felt like, because their playmakers didn't really make much of any plays. C.J. Stroud was 18 for 26, 131 yards and 2 touchdowns, but Joe Mixon was 12 for 23 on the ground. Agumbawale had a breakaway run to help there, but or was that the fake punt? I think that was the fake punt.
That was the fake punt, yeah.
So that was cool. That was like one of those plays I talked about that was pretty neat. It was perfectly executed. 35-yard rush play on a fake punt. But as far as the receiving game goes, when Joe Mixon, your running back, and then Joe Mixon, your running back, is your top leading receiver, you know that you didn't have a great day. No. Nico Collins had 2 touchdowns, but he had 17 yards.
Yeah.
So that goes back to getting the picks and interceptions and turnovers and putting you in good field position, not really needing to do much, and boom, capitalizing. So kind of a stinker of a game, but what you can take from it is that Miami's still on the struggle a little bit, and the Texans defense is back, and I have absolutely no concerns. Carried that team.
Yeah, there's just, with the Dolphins, and there's just no fear of big plays this year for whatever reason. Teams are bottling up. They're watching Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle got hurt in this game.
Yeah. They haven't even really threatened it feels like.
No, they're just checking it down short, trying to get some good yak, which is where Jonnu Smith has come in. He got 9 catches in this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of my Dolphins offense just needs a complete reset this offseason, and I'm sure that Mike McDaniel will be trying to cook up something, because this is like league wide. We're seeing like Shanahan offenses, like both these teams kind of struggle this year, and I don't know. Defenses are getting smarter.
Yeah, for sure. Next game we'll touch on here. Kansas City Chiefs beat the Browns. Finally, they beat someone by more than one score. They won 21-7. The Browns stink.
Yeah, bad Jameis game.
Yeah, bad Jameis game. He ended up 16 for 25 and obviously 3 picks. So 2 in the end zone. So they were close and then throw it away in the end zone. Yeah, that was ugly. And then DTR came in and it wasn't any better, and he ended up throwing a pick. So between all that, I think I have maybe more of the stats in here. It doesn't even matter. I think the Browns had 4 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries.
Yeah.
So you can't really win that way.
Yeah.
It was kind of ugly on both sides, but the Chiefs were able to score those points only because on 2 of those turnovers, they were within like the Browns' 40-yard line. So they had an incredibly short field. So obviously there's a good chance that the Chiefs are going to be able to put it in the end zone. And it was just ugly. I think 14 of the Chiefs' 21 points came after turnovers is what they capitalized on. So the Browns felt like they had pressure on Mahomes all night, and I think they did because he obviously ended up getting hurt because he got hit, but he was taking some serious shots all game, or at least getting close. So the Browns pass rush was trying their best, but the Browns offense was not helping them out at all. So they need some serious help on that offensive side badly. And I don't know if DTR is the answer, and he's going to be starting going forward.
Yeah.
I don't think we agree with that.
No.
You got to just let Jameis cook, especially at this point in the season for the Browns.
Yeah. Yeah, like, there's going to be bad games from Jameis. We've seen this throughout his whole career. This is who Jameis is.
Yes.
I mean, I know 3 interceptions is bad. It's like a real quick trigger move. You're pissed off in the game. You're like, damn it, Jameis, stop throwing picks.
Yep.
So you just make the move to DTR, and now for some reason they're sticking with it. I don't know. I mean, this team's trying to lose, basically. Yeah. So they need a quarterback.
Yep. And really all they got is Jerry Jeudy. He ended up 11 for 108. So, like, he
stays hot.
Yeah, he's pretty good. But other than that, their running game is rough. Jerome Ford was their biggest runner this week, and he just had a couple he had one breakaway that really skewed the numbers for like 60 yards. But he ended up with a touchdown this game, the only touchdown for the Cleveland Browns. A pretty nice run. But they're just bad, and needless to say, Jameis was delivered from pick sixes, as he wanted to be, but he was not delivered from picks.
Right. He should have been more specific.
Yeah, he should have just kept it at picks instead of pick sixes. You got to start somewhere. So that was just kind of an ugly game. Chiefs finally win by more than a score, but it was probably against one of the worst teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah,
vibes-wise.
Yes, all the bad parts of Jameis, like he was getting visited by the ghosts of Jameis past, ghosts of Jameis future, Jameis present. They're all basically the same ghosts. They all throw picks.
Yeah, they all do picks. Yeah,
but they're all really funny. Good. It makes for good TV.
It does.
We love Jameis.
Yep.
All right, we'll talk about a game that Cody and I actually picked right this week.
We did.
The Cowboys.
Yep.
They went into Charlotte and they beat the Panthers 30-14. And honestly, here's my takeaway for the Cowboys. If you listen to Cody and me talk about not trusting the Panthers being favored in this game, you would have won some money.
You would have.
And it happened exactly how Cody and I predicted it too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Bryce Young was sacked 6 times in this game. Cowboys pass rush gave Bryce Young fits all game long. There were 5 different Cowboys defenders who recorded at least 1 sack in this game, and Micah had 2 of those sacks, and he had 7 pressures on his own. There was no DeMarvion Overshown. There was no Trayvon Diggs. It didn't matter. CeeDee Lamb also was just back to himself. 9 receptions, 116 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. Rico Dowdle also stayed hot.
Yeah.
He's been crazy the past
Super
4
hot.
weeks.
Yep.
He had almost the exact same rushing stat line that Bucky Irving put up against the Panthers. 25 carries, 149 rush yards. But Bucky had 25 carries, 152 rush yards.
Boom.
And then 33 receiving yards thrown in. But who's counting? But Rico Dowdle. Yeah, I am. Rico Dowdle may be playing himself into consideration for the starting running back job next season, too. Because, now, I mean, if the Cowboys get the chance to draft Heisman runner-up Ashton Genty, they might just do that in the first round, which, sure, go ahead. That's fair. I don't care how good Rico Dowdle's been playing. We all see what Ashton Genty is.
Yeah.
But Rico Dowdle over the past 4 weeks has 478 rush yards and 5.7 yards per carry over the past
really
4 weeks. That's really good. But man, I don't know what kicked these Cowboys in the ass, but I feel like they're playing the best football of the season right now.
With Cooper Rush.
Yeah. I mean, Cooper Rush.
He's dealing.
Exactly. Yeah. He's not going to light up the stat sheet. He's not going to make anybody better around him, but he's serviceable is like the lowest insult you can kind of give him.
Yeah.
I don't want to call him good, but I'd say he's right now playing at a league average level.
Yep.
18 of 29, 214 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. He was only sacked once. Now, forget about the sacks. The Panthers defense is bad, but but yeah, he didn't turn the ball over, and he was a big part of this Cowboys win against the Panthers team that had looked hot. They're 3-11 now, but they had been playing ahead of their skis.
Yeah.
In this game, and it was just really, or not in this game, but in the past few weeks, and it's just really impressive. So let me talk about the Panthers, because this feels like the Steelers, where the Panthers were so due for a shit game. They were so due.
Yep.
Because as I said, they've been playing ahead of their skis. This roster never really had much talent. I mean, you look up and down it, it's wow, how are these guys doing this? And then you look again, and it's oh yeah, same roster. Yeah, this makes more sense here.
Yep.
This team was just coming together, buying into how Bryce Young had been playing. When you get good quarterback play, it gives the whole team confidence. It just it felt like eventually reality had to strike.
Definitely.
When you don't have that talent, you're playing in the professional football league. Eventually, it's going to bite you in the ass, and it bit you in the ass hard here. This Panthers team has no doubt shown some promise, and I feel like they have finally have some hope and something to build off of going forward into this offseason.
Yeah, for sure.
When you step back and take a look at the big picture, Chuba while he's had a great season, he wasn't very good in this game. Chuba was never honestly viewed as a starting caliber running back before this season. He was a backup behind Miles Sanders to start this year.
Yep.
Miles Sanders got the contract 2 years ago, and he was a starter. And then Chuba kind of outplayed him last year, and then offseason competition, Chuba won it, and he just ran away with it.
But they still brought in Jonathan Brooks.
They did.
One of the top running backs. I mean, he was hurt, but he was still the top running back in the draft.
Right, you're right. He's
unfortunately hurt again, but they still took him in thinking that, hey, Chuba's not really the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
But Chuba plays out and ends up getting a contract in the middle of the season.
And now it looks pretty smart because Jonathan Brooks is out for at least another year. Yeah, I don't know what the rest of his NFL arc is going to look like. And then also Adam Thielen is the wide receiver 1 on this team at 32 years old. Like, that doesn't look good either. No. I mean, undrafted free agent Jalen Coker has been contributing too. He had another 100-yard game in this one. He had an 83-yard touchdown on a nice pass from Bryce Young. But he's been playing really well too. They have athletic young tight ends, Tommy Tremble and Jatavian Sanders. They just haven't really figured it out yet.
Yep.
The offensive line has been a really good and pleasant surprise this season after the train wreck that they were last season.
For sure.
And then we talked about how their best defensive player, by a wide margin, defensive tackle Derek Brown, has been out for the season since week 2. So we knew the defense was going to be bad. They've just all playing really well. So this team obviously still has a lot of work to do in the offseason.
A lot of young pieces.
Yeah. I mean, to get where you can consistently compete, you need a lot more talent here.
Definitely. In
the professional football league. And the Cowboys definitely exposed every single one of their weaknesses in this game. So
specifically run, rush game.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, Rico Dowdle.
Yeah.
Like you talked about, running wild.
Seriously,
that's probably the brightest shining bad spot on the Panthers.
Yeah.
Defensive-wise.
Yeah, you don't have that defensive tackle there to stop them. You're not catching them.
That's that's a prime example of, now I know it's a whole line.
Yeah.
But, I'm trying to think of other teams, what would happen.
Vita Vea.
I'm thinking if the Steelers didn't have Cam Hayward.
Yeah.
That's a big deal to lose one of your dudes in the line. It kind of wraps everyone together.
Look at how bad I know the Rams just played really well against a struggling 49ers team, but look at how bad the Rams defense has been this year. Lost Aaron Donald in the middle. Vita Vea on the Bucs. Whenever he's been out, they can't stop the run at all.
No.
But yeah, this Cowboys team just gave a little wake-up call to this Panthers team and drop-kicked them out of the la-la land that they were dreaming of strolling through. So, it's aha, you're in the NFL now, remember?
Yep.
Boom. Yeah. But
we suck again.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce Young, I'm hoping, just for his sake, because I enjoy watching him, I'm hoping that this isn't a sign of things to come for the last 3 weeks, because if that is what happens, recency bias is a real thing, and they're going to forget all about those 3-4 weeks that he played well, because the rest of his NFL career is pretty rough. So I'm hoping he turns it back around. Yeah. This doesn't scare him straight. I want to see him keep playing well and keep the job for next year. At least get one more season where he's trying to prove himself.
Yeah, we can only hope. New York Jets beat the Jags 32-25. Aaron Rodgers and his buddy Devontae are back. Devontae ended up with 9 for 198 yards and 2 touchdowns. That connection between Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Back.
Which is crazy, because I was watching that game. He couldn't catch shit in the first half.
Nope.
Devontae.
Nothing at all.
The only thing he caught was touchdown passes.
Yeah.
And then the second half was crazy.
Yeah. So there's back. Aaron Rodgers, 16 for 30, 289 yards, those 3 touchdowns. And so they had guess what else Aaron Rodgers was? The Jets' leading rusher. 6 for 45.
What has happened to Breece Hall this year?
I don't know. Is he still hurt?
He's got to be hurt.
He's got to be hurt.
Yeah,
still.
I mean, but he knows that, Isaiah Davis has been playing really well behind him. He knows that Braylon Allen started out the year playing really well. He's kind of cooled off, but he sees those guys behind him. I think it's just kind of like a Baker Mayfield back whenever he was still last season on the Browns. He's like, I'm going to play through this shoulder injury, and then played himself right out of Cleveland. Breece Hall is a good running back. I'm hoping he doesn't do that.
Yeah, I know. Me too. He's a great running back.
It doesn't look good.
Not at all. Besides that, Garrett Wilson, 3 for 56. He had a touchdown. Breece Hall did have a touchdown in there on his limited yardage. But other than that, the Jets, they look halfway decent again, just mainly because of Devontae Adams. And Aaron Rodgers was actually dealing this game and moving and making those darts that we know him to make of years past. On the Jags side, it really wasn't theirs to win at all. Like after the first half, yeah, but they were kind of dead. Mac Jones threw it 46 times. He was 31 for 46. He had 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he also had 2 picks thrown in there. BTJ is still quarterback proof. He's kind of proven to be that. Mac Jones didn't have the worst game, but Brian Thomas Jr., 10 for 105, 2 touchdowns. Brenton Strange, the backup tight end, who's in for Evan Ingram, who's hurt, 11 for 73, and Parker Washington even still getting work, 3 for 54. So not like Mac Jones was able to supply those guys pretty well.
Honestly, this is a damn good Mac Jones game.
It is for Mac Jones. It's a great game.
Yeah.
Travis Etienne, he was 14 for 65. Bigsby was about the same, 11 for 42.
Damn, Bigsby forced 5 missed tackles in this game. Stats aren't great, but
no.
Mac Jones even used his legs here.
He did. 4 carries, 29 yards. Stud. It was just kind of... Jacksonville looked promising in the beginning just because the Jets couldn't really get anything going in that first half. But then, like you said, second half came around. Devontae woke up and decided to catch everything instead of missing everything. And they ran away with it. And that's pretty much that. This game doesn't really mean much because both these teams are out of it. Yeah. Jets are 4-10. Jags are 3-11. I don't even know what the Jags are looking for now. I don't know what they should be looking for. I guess we're just waiting on Trevor Lawrence next year to get back. It's proven that Brian Thomas Jr. is a stud, and he's really, really playing well this year. And you mentioned it before, I think, but like if it wasn't for Malik Neighbors, he'd be up there for like the best rookie wide receiver or rookie player this year in the league, rookie offensive player in the league.
LSU is wide receiver U.
Yeah.
Whenever you think about the best receivers, there's always that debate between Ohio State and LSU because Ohio State's got Chris Olave, they got Garrett Wilson, they got Marvin Harrison Jr. Yep. They're gonna have a Mika Ibuka coming out this year, but you think about LSU and it's it's not close. You got some of the best receivers in the league.
Justin Jefferson.
Jamar Chase, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors now, OBJ back whenever he was good, Jarvis Landry,
BTJ.
It's not. Yeah, it's not close.
Oh, yeah. It's not close at all. But so I don't know. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are back.
They are.
And the Jets look decent. And they ended up pulling out the W.
Yes, they did. I feel like this game just means more for. It doesn't mean anything for the teams right now, but
it means more for Jets fans right now.
Yes, for Jets fans and for if Aaron Rodgers wants to come back or not.
Yeah.
And if he's going to be welcome back.
Yeah, exactly. Jets fans.
As I said, recency bias is a real thing, and if Aaron Rodgers plays well these final 3 games that he has, they might be like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, come on back.
Forget the first 13, 12 games that he was terrible. But
yeah.
All right, we'll talk about another game that, it was never thought of to be close. This spread got up to 16 points. That was Ravens versus Giants.
Yeah.
Ravens smacked them 35-14, and it was 35-7 at one point. And that was just a garbage. And basically, the whole game was garbage time for the Giants.
Pretty much.
Because it is garbage time in New York at all times.
Yep.
As I said, for the Ravens, even the 16-point spread turned out to be just disrespectful.
Yeah.
They started out the game 14-0. Giants then scored a touchdown to make it 14-7.
Yeah, keeping it close.
And next thing you know, Ravens are up 35-7.
Yeah.
I mean, let me just go through the Ravens stats for this game because they are as crazy as you would expect.
Yes.
Lamar Jackson, 21 of 25 for 290 passing yards, 5 touchdowns.
Incredible.
Derrick Henry didn't have a great game. 67 rushing yards on 14 carries, but Lamar Jackson put in another 65 yards on the ground on 6 carries. Rashad Bateman came back from injury, caught 2 touchdown passes, 3 catches, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. Justice Hill was the next leading receiver, 5 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown. I mean, once you get up by that much, you don't really need to do too much on offense. You just kind of cruise, and everything is easy and beautiful.
Yep.
Easy breezy, beautiful cover girl.
Nailed it.
Not a whole lot to take away from this varsity versus junior varsity scrimmage.
Pretty much.
The Ravens definitely needed this win to boost their confidence before facing the Steelers and then the Texans on Saturday, then Wednesday, which is Christmas. So that's basically a Sunday to Thursday. You got 5 days. And
it's close. A lot of games.
Playing 2 tough games.
Yep.
So they needed this. Well, the Giants, I'm only going to talk about one person. We already mentioned him on the show. It's Malik Neighbors.
Yep, he's good.
He's also quarterback proof. These rookies this year, I feel like we have great rookie wide receivers every single year. Some guys just come into the league like ready.
Yeah.
Some guys don't. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yep.
But Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., LSU wide receiver Malik Neighbors in this game, 10 receptions, 82 yards, 1 touchdown on 14 targets. Let me dive into Malik Neighbors a little bit more to show you just how crazy this is, what he's doing, because this kid is special.
Yeah.
Through 12 games, he's missed 2 games this season. 12 games. He's got 90 receptions on 135 targets for 901 receiving yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. He ranks as the wide receiver 15 this season, according to PFF. Remember who he's had throwing to him? Daniel Jones.
Yep.
Drew Lock.
Yep.
Tommy DeVito.
Yep.
Tim Boyle.
Oh, yeah.
Who he may have had his best game of his NFL career this past week.
Definitely.
If you guys don't know who Tim Boyle is, he is
Legend.
And he's a legend because he shouldn't be in the NFL.
No.
He shouldn't have even been playing Division I college football.
Certainly not.
I literally have no idea how Tim Boyle made it to the NFL after throwing a total of 1,299 passing yards at a 53.6% completion percentage with 4 touchdowns and 10 interceptions in college. That's total. Over 4-5 years, however many years he played college football, he threw for 1,299 passing yards total.
Yep.
This
guy's your NFL quarterback.
Yeah, and then in the NFL, which he's still seemingly on every single team that needs a backup, he's thrown out there as he's somehow in the game.
Yeah.
He's thrown for 5 touchdowns and 13 interceptions in the NFL. Yet this guy must give like crazy head in the locker room or something. How is
He's a real glue guy.
Seriously, I don't understand. This guy he might be like one of the most legendary NFL players in all of the history of the NFL.
Just big cojones. They probably come in and be like, "Hey, Tim, buddy, you're fired." And he's like, "I'm not.
No, I'm not.
I think you're fired."
Yeah.
Not leaving. Yeah.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's amazing. We're back to Malik Neighbors. Anyway, you watch the Giants, and Malik Neighbors is always open, man. He's already elite. Everyone else in this game for the Giants, absolute shit. But that's the Giants this season.
Absolutely.
And still, there have been no coaches or front office employees fired from this Giants team this season. That's amazing in itself. That might be
they're just pot committed at this point.
That's enough to win an award. You don't fire any. You see how terrible you are, but we're gonna stay here in this shit.
Yeah,
we like it.
It makes no sense.
We like it.
Yeah,
that's New York.
That's New York.
I don't know.
They live in it.
Well, speaking of shit, we got another game here.
Yeah.
Pretty bad offensively on both sides. That is the Colts versus the Broncos. The Broncos won at home to now pull ahead of the Chargers in the division.
Yep.
31-13, they won against the Colts. If you told me that 5 interceptions were thrown in this game, I would have guessed that Anthony Richardson threw 4 of them.
Yes.
But no. Bo Nix threw 3.
But nay.
His first career 3-interception game in the NFL. Just a rough game all around.
It was bound to happen.
Oh, my gosh. It was so bad. I don't even want to read the stats. But Bo Nix, he threw for 130 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson, you know that he's going to get his interceptions. He went 17 of 38 for 172 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Sure.
Jonathan Taylor, and this was another game where he took a 40-yard run that would have been a touchdown. There was nobody even near him, and he just dropped the ball right before the goal line, rolled out of the end zone, and touched back to the other team. That would have put them up 20-7.
Yeah, I think so.
And that was right after the second half had started. And after that, it just all went to shit. I mean, that was if you had to pick something to really summarize this game for the Colts, it is probably that play. It's this is how I coined it. It is the ultimate fumble the bag away game. Yeah. Colts were leading 13-7 at halftime.
They were looking way better than the Broncos.
Yes, Broncos came out and immediately threw an interception to start off the second half.
Yep.
And then, as I said, Jonathan Taylor fumbles at the goal line after a 41-yard run down the sideline that would have put them up 20-7. Just 2 minutes into the third quarter. And then the shit hit the fan. Let me list off the drive results for the Colts for the rest of the second half because it's just...
Broncos defense woke up and won the game.
Yes, they did. But this is just funny. So obviously we had that fumble to start.
Yeah.
Then it was punt, fumble, return, touchdown.
Yep.
turnover on downs, interception, turnover on downs. It just,
Oh my!
and then by that time it was 13-31, and they had lost the game. But this was absolutely terrible. AR has looked better since returning to the starting lineup. But it took facing a good defense like this to show how much he still needs to improve.
Yeah.
His rushing ability is still clearly his best asset. He just needs to work on hitting those easy throws, man. It's like nothing is easy for this offense. Because when pressure is relentless like this, like it was in this game, you need some small victories to get the offense moving. Like this offense right now is just boom or bust, but not bust in a good way.
Certainly not.
Bad. If you don't hit those like deep bombs that Anthony Richardson hits sometimes, like you might not move the offense very much. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely kind of ugly.
It was very ugly. But for the Broncos, like we're not even going to talk about offense on either side of the ball here. Defense proved that they can keep this team in games that the offense is struggling in, which is kind of a question. I mean, they've been good all year, but like Bo Nix has also been good, so like we don't really know like
haven't had to put the defense to the test.
Yes, exactly. They pressured Anthony Richardson 21 times in this game, which was 48.8% of his dropbacks. Almost half the time he was being pressured. They forced 2 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and 3 fumbles. They held the Colts to 0 points in the second half, as I said. There were 8 Broncos defenders who earned PFF grades of at least 70 in this game. 7 of those players, there were 7 players with at least 3 pressures.
Jeez.
There were 6 total pass deflections in this game. Just a phenomenal effort by the defense, which is good because the offense absolutely sucked ass.
Yeah.
The Broncos offense had just 193 total yards. They averaged 3.2 yards per play. They were actually outgained by the Colts by quite a bit.
Yeah.
They couldn't run the ball like usual. Mm-hmm. They also couldn't pass, which was different. But they did have 3 touchdown drives on the game. Their longest touchdown drive was just 54 yards.
Yeah.
Close. Yep.
Their other touchdown drives were 15 yards and 35 yards.
Yeah.
Broncos defense was the ones that won this game. Oh, and then there was one Broncos field goal drive that went for just 5 yards.
Nice.
It was really the defense that deserves all the credit here, setting up the offense in good positions to somehow put points on the board. Broncos defensive coordinator Vance Joseph was just cooking with gas all week, and that shit caught on fire, and the Colts had absolutely no way to put that fire out. They were just throwing like buckets of grease on there. They thought it was water. Mm-hmm. It was hats off to the Broncos defense because they kind of proved this. Even though the offense looked like shit, like I feel like it's not going to stay like that.
Yeah, probably. You mean Broncos?
Broncos offense isn't going to stay like that.
So. I mean, Bo Nix is a rookie. It was bound to fall apart a little bit at some point, but
this gives me more hope, honestly, in the Broncos that their defense is going to step up. Yeah. Not that the Colts are a great offense by any means, but they put on a show today.
Yeah, they certainly did.
Earned some respect for sure.
Yep. Next game we'll go to the Patriots went to Arizona, and Arizona beat them 30-17. It was never really the Patriots at all. It was just all Arizona. Kyler Murray, 23 for 30, 224 yards. Didn't even throw for any interceptions or even run for any, which was different for Kyler. But on the ground, James Conner, 16 for 110, 2 touchdowns. There you go, Cletus, 6.9 a carry. Trey Benson was 5 for 22. So, but James Conner had a great game this week.
He's the number 1 ranked running back according to PFF this year. James Conner is.
Dang. That's my boy.
Yeah.
I like that.
He's been great.
Yeah, and then Trey McBride, as usual, has a pretty decent game. 9 for 87. It's pretty good.
Oh, wait, I was wrong. Hang on. He's number 4 now.
Oh.
He dropped below Derrick Henry, Ken Walker, and Bijan Robinson. Sorry.
Still higher than what
False
you would have thought at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
Most people would have thought. Trey McBride, 9 for 87 this week. Greg Dortch was 3 for 60, and that's about where the pass game stops, but they didn't really need it. James Conner ran for 2 touchdowns. So, and New England didn't really have any answers. Drake May was 19 for 23, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And Ramondre was 13 for 69, but other than that, and 44 yards by Kendrick Bourne, and another about 40 by Austin Hooper, they couldn't really get anything going. Couldn't get into the end zone. Drake May rushed for 1 into the end zone and then threw 1 to Demario Douglas. Mm-hmm. Those are both in the fourth quarter. The Patriots just didn't have any answers this week, and it couldn't really get anything going. It was just Arizona all game long. that's Drake May's still learning, I guess. His
he
overall
is.
like completion percentage is pretty good. 19 for 23. You can take that away as being pretty nice. He's been pretty decent all year that he's been playing here. He just didn't make a whole lot of big plays this week when they needed it. That's about where that stops. It's Patriots football this year. They're 3-11. Arizona's now 7-7. Trying to stay in it, and that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, Cardinals are still in it for the division race here because
for the division,
Seahawks lost. They're just one game back from those 8-6 leaders that are the Rams and the Seahawks.
Yep.
So this division is still wide open between those three teams.
Yep.
But yeah,
a lot can happen in the next couple weeks.
Yes, it can. Oh, wow. This team impressed me. The Buccaneers.
Whew.
They just beat the pants off the Chargers in L.A., 40-17. Well, I mean, for the Buccaneers, my Falcons Super Bowl take was fun while it lasted. I thought the Bucs looked fiery back when they didn't have Mike Evans, and now the Bucs players are really hitting their stride at the same time.
Yes.
As I said, Bucky Irving is a top 10 running back in the NFL, and no, that's not an exaggeration.
Nope.
Bucky Irving in Week 13, obviously we know 28 touches for 185 total yards. In Week 14, last week, 5 touches for 18 yards. Could only play 10 snaps, left with back tightness and a sore hip from Week 13 where he got all those touches. Then Week 15, prepping up for it, he did not practice Wednesday or Thursday. Limited practice on Friday. Game time decision. Ends up suiting up, basically limping onto the field, takes 17 touches for 113 yards. Animal.
Dog.
I will never stop praising Bucky Irving. Mike Evans in this game. 9 receptions, 159 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns since he came back in Week 12, averaging 6.5 receptions, 103.5 receiving yards per game since he returned from that injury. 251 receiving yards away from 1,000 receiving yards for an 11th straight season. He's got 3 games to do it. I think he's going to do it.
Come on, Mike.
I think he's going to do it. 251 receiving yards. Come on. Even Jalen McMillan the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
4 receptions last week. 4 receptions, 59 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. This week, 5 receptions, 75 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. He's came on at a time where they really need wins.
Yep.
Trying to hold back against the Falcons. They haven't even needed too much Cade Otton after because whenever Mike Evans went down, they used a lot of Cade Otton, and he was good.
Yeah, very good.
He was trucking over people, but they haven't really needed him since Mike Evans came back because Bucky Irving and Rashad White added to the receiving game too. Mm-hmm. And then their defense, just to touch on them a little bit, their defensive tackle, Kalijah Cansey, he's a second-year guy, came out of Pitt, undersized defensive tackle. Anytime you get an undersized defensive tackle who's quick and good pass rusher, you're going to get comps to Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
And he's not Aaron Donald. He also played at Pitt, too, which made the comps
really
crazy.
Fuels it.
It really fuels it. But he's not Aaron Donald. But over the past 4 weeks, he has been absolutely crazy. 21 pressures over the past 4 weeks from the defensive tackle position from like a 280-pound guy, which is 5.25 pressures per game. He's also had 2 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. He's been playing crazy. Levante David, he had 1.5 sacks and 12 tackles in this game. This guy is almost 35 years old. He turns 35 soon. Playing linebacker where you're getting
all
hits,
over
delivering
the field.
hits, all over the field. This guy's crazy. Jamel Dean, their cornerback, is always so consistent. He lost his best bud, didn't lose. He's not dead. He's just on the Lions now. He lost Carlton Davis to the Lions.
Yeah.
And they even had to start Christian Ezian and Kayvon Merriweather at safety in this game. There was no Antoine Winfield Jr. There was no Jordan Whitehead. Those guys had to start, and they still dominated. I'm honestly not even bothered. Not really bothered that they're now winning the NFC South over the Falcons just because I love watching this team.
Yeah.
Baker played with fire today. After having a rough stretch of weeks where he was just throwing picks like crazy, he was throwing missiles in this game. He went 288 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, still had that 1 pick in there. He'll give you 1.
Yep.
He had a 121-yard rush in this game. Every game, he lays his body on the line for his team. Yes. He wants to win these games. He is fired up after all the good plays that are made. He's a real team guy, and he's easy to root for now.
Yep.
Rashad White even played well in this game, too. He went 15 for 64. But, yeah, this team is firing on all cylinders, to say the least.
Yeah, they just beat up on one of the best defenses in the
Yeah.
league, if not the best.
Yeah. Which takes me to my takeaway for the Chargers. As soon as I start believing in the Chargers and what they're doing offensively, just trusting that Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman are good enough to create offense, no matter what skill players Justin Herbert has to work with, the Chargers offense just shits the bed.
Yeah.
And that is where my concern was coming from. Once again, I'm going to say it because running backs are disrespected. Running backs do matter. The Chargers learned that real fast because they couldn't run the ball to win this game the way that Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman want to. Whenever you have Gus Edwards and a 6th-round rookie, Kamani Vidal, running the ball, they went for a combined 2.9 yards per carry, which is bad. You
real bad.
lose J.K. Dobbins, and you can't run the ball anymore, which is like that was your MO to start the year.
Yep.
The Chargers did do well keeping this game close by dinking and dunking. Like Justin Herbert just plays smart, takes what throws were there.
Glad McConkey looked good.
Yes,
he made some
did.
plays. Yep.
He did. Up until about 5 minutes left in the third quarter, it was 23-16 Chargers. Chargers had the ball on their own 10-yard line. Then Herbert throws a ball deep to the right to Quentin Johnston, and it gets picked off at the Chargers' 42-yard line. Bucks immediately drive down. I guess Chargers weren't winning there. Bucks were up. But Bucks immediately drive down and score a touchdown to go up 30-16 with 1:36 left in the third. Then when you're down by 2 touchdowns with basically 1 quarter left, who do you have to throw to? Like, who can make a big play on this team? Who can win a one-on-one matchup more than 10 yards down the field? The answer is nobody.
Yep.
Like, Lad McConkey, I'll give him that. He is very good in the short area.
Yeah.
He's very quick, twitchy. He's going to get open. He's an easy target for Justin Herbert. But, like, you need a big play. And who are you going to throw it to? Josh Palmer isn't going to get open. Quentin Johnston might get open. He's not going to catch the ball.
Yeah, that's
He's at least
sketchy.
fast. Like, they also didn't have Will Dissly in this game. Stone Smart, he played pretty well for a backup tight end.
He did, yep.
He's a good receiving tight end. But, like, once again, there's no weapons on this team for when you need to play catch up. And the Buccaneers aren't even viewed as one of the best offenses in the league. Well, now they probably are, but like coming into this game, it's like you're not like scared of them like you are the
Right.
Bills or the Ravens
Right.
or like the Rams. So when your defense, which has been great all year until this game, if they can't stop the Bills, Ravens, Steelers at times, like how are they going to keep up in the playoffs? If they make it to the playoffs, like I don't know. Like over the last 3 games, if they like lose out, they might miss the playoffs. It's a real possibility.
Yep.
If the wheels just fall off this thing. But the problems on the offense at the skill positions really reared their ugly head in this game.
They did.
And I feel like this was coming for a while.
Probably. I mean, yeah, they're just lacking in offensive.
Offensive pieces. Yeah.
They really are. Because on the offensive side, I mean, Gus Edwards ran for 23 yards.
Yeah.
Vidal ran for 9 yards. Lad McConkey, 5 receptions, 58 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have 2 like bad drops in this game.
He
though.
did. Yep.
Like that was right whenever they needed to come back, and he's like, "I'm going to my boy Lad," and it's like drop. Like what the hell?
Yeah.
Who am I gonna throw to?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it was. Who knows? Chargers could just bounce back next week.
Yeah,
but
They very well could. That's the difference with this year's Chargers is we actually think they could bounce back.
yeah, they got
In
good
years
coaching.
past,
Nope.
dead.
No,
Done.
yeah. I don't know. I just need to. You need to.
It's just you're not going to fix your offensive.
Yes.
struggles right now.
You're really relying on your
Yeah.
defense to hold teams below basically
Like 20 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we'll see.
It's going to be tough sledding.
Yeah, especially in the playoffs if they
Yep.
can make it there.
Yep. My Steelers
Ah.
got whooped by the Eagles, one of the best teams in the league. Eagles beat them 27-13. Let me take a moment.
They did not cover.
Okay, moment's passed. I'm ready. If you need an opponent, let me start again.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm cutting a program here.
Reset for the
reset.
for the
For the
social
social media team.
Yeah.
All right. If you need an opponent to fix your passing game, the Steelers' defense is for you. Their secondary absolutely stinks, and anybody can pass on them.
Yeah. Joey Porter.
Call today.
Yeah, Joey Porter. That was really good. I like that. Joey Porter Jr. is leading the league in penalties with 15. The next closest.
I didn't know the
defender-
number, but
I could have guessed he was leading.
The next
as a Steelers
closest
fan.
corner has 10 penalties. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
Joey Porter Jr. should maybe switch to linebacker or somewhere where he can run slow.
I mean, sure. Yeah.
Maybe switch to safety. Minka used to play corner. He just not fast.
Not fast, yeah.
Teach him how to tackle and switch him to safety because Joey Porter Jr. holds like crazy.
Yeah, it's.
He's too much like his dad, who is a linebacker.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I will say I'll give the Steelers some benefit of the doubt. Deshaun Elliott, one of their stud guys, missed all year. He was out this week.
He was.
So that was a really big hit for them. And then Dante Jackson ended up getting hurt and leaving the game also. So that was another big shot to them. But it's kind of been a thing all year with the Steelers secondary. It started off okay, but yeah, over these past few weeks, it's been getting rougher and rougher and rougher and rougher. But their defensive line and like that front group, incredible. They held Saquon Barkley to 65 yards on 19 carries, and that's unheard of this year. So that was a real focus.
That's
obviously.
a win.
Yeah, that was a real focus for them. But that obviously leaves open the outside, and Eagles took full advantage. Any of that talk, this was probably partially because all the talk with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown hate each other. And,
all week long.
Yeah, all week long. And then they're like, oh, do we really? Let's walk down the field, our like first or second drive or whatever, and throw a touchdown pass and get right back into it and do the Step Brothers dance or whatever that movie's from.
White Chicks.
White Chicks.
White
sorry,
Chicks,
yeah. White Chicks dance. It's just, this is one of those games as a Steelers fan, you're like, you can be mad about it, or you can just be like, hey, I kind of felt it was coming, you know? Like,
they were due for a shit game.
They were due for one of these games.
Steelers way.
Still missing George Pickens, so obviously their passing game is darn near non-existent. Couldn't get anything opened up, and obviously the Eagles' defense is incredible. One of the best in the league. Their linebacking and like secondary core is next level between Witherspoon, right? That's not.
No.
Nope. Sorry.
Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah, Quinyon Mitchell and
Blankenship.
Blankenship. Yeah, Blankenship and Bond.
Oh, Zach Bond has made himself some money this year.
Cooper DeJean. I mean, they're all incredible, and we already know about the defensive line of the Eagles. They're really good too, and they did damage this game also. But just for what really concerned probably most of us Steelers fans, at least me, and ticked me off the most is when you force 2 turnovers to a team that doesn't turn it over very much, and you only get 3 points out of it. You're not going to win football games. You just aren't going to do it. And then the Steelers also started out with like 2 3-and-outs to start the game. So just from the start, they couldn't get anything going. The only thing that's keeping us Steelers fans alive is the fact that they had some big splash plays thrown in there. Like the drive that ended with a Muth touchdown looked pretty good. They marched down the field pretty well and capitalized with Fire Muth getting into the end zone. Muth. And then you have cool plays that I guess, I don't know, would have worked if they could have finished the drive. But like that flea flicker to send it to Calvin Austin with that pass by Russ that was just an absolute dot. Dropped it in a bucket. And so they're like, okay, we're back. And then not at all. The Philadelphia Eagles defense is still on the other side. Yeah, so it was the Eagles all game long. Steelers were just trying to play catch up. They couldn't run the ball, which has been kind of an issue here and there. I'm not even going to say stats because it's embarrassing to the Steelers. But let's just say between 4 rushers, it was less than 60 yards. So, between 5 rushers, it was less than 60 yards.
To put some numbers just to how bad the Steelers secondary has been. Well, corners. Let me just
corners.
Safeties have been good.
Minka's a dog. He's been playing really well. Deshaun Elliott's been playing really well. Yep.
But Joey Porter Jr. out of 98 total cornerbacks who have played at least 350 snaps this year, that is like over 14 games that have been played.
Yeah.
You've played at least 25 snaps. That's like 25 snaps a game. That's not too much.
Yeah.
Joey Porter ranks with a coverage grade of 53.9. That is 85th out of 98.
Yikes.
And then his buddy, Dante Jackson, ranks 91st with a 50.3 coverage grade. That is, 91st out of 98. So
that's really bad. Really bad.
And you can see it.
You can see it. Yeah. It's rough.
Well, let's talk about a game that also had some bad corner play, but also just some really good offense.
Yes.
On both sides.
Yep.
A game that single-handedly got you to the second round of the playoffs of one of our fantasy leagues because you have both Jared Goff and Josh Allen. The Bills went in to Detroit. And they won 48-42. They have given up at least 40 points 2 straight weeks. The Bills have. And
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because they put up 40 points themselves. They're 1-1 so far in the past 2 weeks, but they've scored over 40 points both times. Also given up over 40 points both times. But anyways, Josh Allen, he solidified his case for MVP. It was really solid last week after a loss.
Yeah.
This week after a win where he had 362 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, didn't get sacked at all, added another 68 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. You have your MVP right here unless something really crazy happens because Lamar's been playing really well too.
Yeah, Lamar just went for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
but
like,
against
Josh Allen.
Giants.
Yeah, exactly.
Against the Giants. This against the Lions, one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league, is what we thought. James Cook had a nice game too. 14 carries, 105 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They did whatever they wanted in this game. Ty Johnson, the backup running back, third-string running back, played on the Jets, played for many other teams, the Bills, obviously. 5 receptions, 114 receiving yards in this game. Keon Coleman had 1 long play for 64 yards.
It was nice.
Yeah, this was an absolutely crazy, fun game to watch because on the other side, they were throwing back punches too. We said before we got on the air, this was like the end of a 12th round of a boxing match. You got 10 seconds left. Nobody's caring about playing defense, protecting your face. You're just back and forth, rock'em sock'em robots. Everybody's punching each other in the face because Jared Goff went 38 of 59 for 494 passing yards, 5 touchdown passes. They didn't run the ball in this game.
No, they couldn't. They got down early.
Yeah, they could.
It was like 21-7 or something like that. The Bills were up.
Yeah, so Lions made one hell of a comeback.
Yeah.
David Montgomery tore his PCL.
I think so, PCL.
Out for the rest of the season. Amon-Ra, crazy game, 14 catches. 193 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. That is your guy. You have a jersey of him.
I do. It's my dog.
Sam Laporta, 7 catches, 111 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs had 83 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown in this game. This is like, with such a high-scoring game, it's kind of weird that it was a quiet game from Jameson Williams. He only had 37 receiving yards, but he had a touchdown too. Tim Patrick got a touchdown. Dan Skipper, what is he, 6'8"? I mean, I want to get his actual measure.
6'9", I think.
6'9", 330-pound swing tackle. That is like the sixth man of this offensive line.
Yep.
He got a touchdown pass.
Out of the tight end position.
Yes. Oh my, he's
that
humongous.
Run was. I mean, it was short. It was a short play, but I loved that play so much just because Skipper goes into the end zone looking for contact.
Oh, yeah.
And he beheads a corner or something like that.
Yeah, he's I love Skipper. Anytime he goes into the game, this guy plays pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
And Ben Johnson, there's something weird going on in his head that he wants big man touchdowns. He's like, please, I want one for Penei Sewell. I want one for Taylor Decker. I want one for Dan Skipper. Like, he's just trying to give him out left and right. But this game, very minimal defense, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, that's honestly where the concern lies. If there is a concern coming out of this game, like, we all love to see offense, obviously, but, like, from a defensive perspective, this is not good. Especially the Bills have given up 40 points 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Like,
it's bad.
I get that, like, it's great. Our offense is cooking, but, like, those defensive meetings with the defensive coordinator are probably not good at all.
No, they're bad.
You're kidding.
I mean, especially the Lions. The Lions have been really good lately, too.
Yeah.
And then just to give up, I mean, I know it's the Bills and Josh Allen, but still to give up 48 points to somebody, it's...
The injuries, man. I mean, we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You're playing David Long Jr., you're playing Quan Alexander, Jamal Adams, Al-Qadim Muhammad. All these guys have not been on the team for longer than 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to throw them.
Yeah,
It worked last week in a win against the Packers, but they still gave up quite a few points there. Obviously, not 48 points, but
right.
I mean, in this game,
I mean, their studs did their job. Brian Branch had 14 total tackles,
did.
and then my guy Jack Campbell had 11.
he did.
I mean, Jack Campbell. We talk about all the other guys, but Jack Campbell has been ever since he got there last year as a rookie out of Iowa.
Yes.
Iowa.
He's like kind of flying under the radar for some reason, but like he plays probably most of the snaps, if not all snaps on defense, and he's an incredibly good linebacker for him.
He really had to step up this season.
Yeah, with what's his
Anzalone.
name?
Anzalone was the original green dot. He was out early in the season, and so second year in the league, he Jack Campbell really had to step up and become the guy here, and he really
stud.
has.
Yep.
He really has. He's a big. You don't see these linebackers built like him anymore, but he's like 6'5",
He's
243 pounds.
Yeah.
Now linebackers are they're 220, or maybe 6'1".
Yeah.
But
he whenever you're watching the Lions play, if you watch their defense tackling like that, for one, the Lions tackle really well. They rally to the ball. They're really well coached in that area. But you always see Jack Campbell flying in there on almost every play. He's
imagine getting hit by a 6'5", 243-pound defender, knocked on your ass. Yeah,
I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to imagine that.
Yeah.
But outside of the staples like you said, Brian Branch, Jack Campbell, Kirby Joseph.
Yeah.
You got questions just about everywhere because you're getting torched, as well as on the Bills side. I mean, obviously Ed Oliver had a good game here. He had 9 pressures in this game, 1 sack, 6 quarterback hurries, and 2 quarterback hits. But outside of that, man, I mean, what are you relying on? Von Miller is now, what is this? He's 36 years old now. You've always had questions with AJ Epinesa on the defensive line and how they can get pressure, if they can get pressure.
Their line's rough.
Yeah,
for sure.
Corners are now getting torched.
Yep.
There's some real concern here because I know that you have Josh Allen as your quarterback and you think that you're unstoppable on offense, which he has looked this season. But if it comes down to playoff time and you're playing some of the best teams with actually good, healthy defenses, are you worried at all? That if you can't stop their offense, then we really need to score. And then pressure.
Yep.
Pressure causes interceptions, turnovers. It could get ugly. But for right now, they are flying high.
Well, yeah, because even go back to the corners, they had Kareem Jackson
playing this game too because he was replacing. I'm
blanking. Cole Bishop was out.
Yeah, Cole Bishop was out. So
and
I think that's why
Taylor Rapp.
Yeah, so
they're 2 starting
Kareem
safeties.
Jackson had to be playing this game. Yeah,
he's 36.
Kareem Jackson.
Yes,
he's
I knew he'd been around for a while.
Yeah. Another guy who on the Bills side, he wasn't on the team that long ago either.
Yeah, he's very new.
NFL season is long, and you're
Grueling.
lucky if you get to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Football is a dangerous game. But yeah, what a game that was. Hey, you got anything else to add there?
Josh Allen's so freaking good at football.
He's very good at football, man.
I might be in love with Josh Allen.
You're very grateful for him this year.
I am, yeah.
In fantasy football, he's
so good.
He's one of a kind, man.
Yeah, I mean, these were 2 of at least my favorite
quarterbacks. I mean, easy guys to root for just because where they came from. Josh Allen obviously started his career terribly, and now he's coming on as the best in the league.
He is.
And then Jared Goff getting shipped out of L.A. and carrying this team for years now to incredible seasons.
He is.
Yeah, it was a great game. Great game.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Sunday night football now. In a game that I thought was going to be closer in Seattle. Nope, Packers won 30-13. We'll talk about the Seahawks first. You better hope that Geno Smith and or Sam Howell are ready for the Vikings next week, or the Seahawks season is over.
Yeah.
Rams now have the NFC West division lead, as we said earlier. The Sam Howell guy, will say it, that guy over there, Sam Howell was not ready to go into that game Sunday night, and he played bad. He played bad, man.
Yeah.
Just a great game plan by the Packers defense to take advantage of a weak Seahawks offensive line. Oh, my gosh. The pressure that they got so many times, immediately, just pushing their defensive linemen back into Geno Smith and Sam Howell.
Yeah.
Seahawks O-line allowed the quarterbacks to be pressured a total of 22 times, which is 52.4% of dropbacks.
Jeez,
this led to 7 sacks.
Wow.
And we all kind of questioned how good the Seahawks team really was.
Yep.
Coming into this game. Basically every time they win, it's okay, but are they really that good?
Yeah.
Well, they've had some big wins over other NFC West teams this season, but they still just didn't feel great. Jackson Smith-Njigba is the only receiver on this offense who can get separation.
Yeah, and he's been really good this year.
He has been very good this year.
Yep.
And I think that DK Metcalf, they showed in this game how he does kind of help. He gets more attention.
Yeah, for sure.
But Tyler Lockett hasn't done anything.
I think
this
he caught
season.
one this game.
Caught one.
I think he got one.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Their offensive line of the Seahawks is ranked number 29 by PFF.
Yeah.
Ken Walker hasn't played the past 2 weeks, and he's been doing everything he can behind this bad O-line this year. And his stats aren't great if you look at it.
Yeah.
Look at him, but if you look at the real metrics, he's 4th in missed tackles forced among running backs this season. He is 3 missed tackles forced behind the leader, who is James Conner. James Conner has 61 missed tackles forced on 271 carries, so 61 on 217. Ken Walker has 58 on 145.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Ken Walker's ranked as the number 2 running back in rushing grade this season, according to PFF. And he's just not there.
No, he's not there
I
at
mean,
all.
Charbonnet, Jared likes to call him Carburetor.
Yeah, Zach
Just 'cause-
Carburetor.
Zach
Yeah.
Carburetor. But the defense also, they've been better since their week 10 bye.
Yeah.
McDonald has gotten this thing kind of cooking the way he
back on
wants
track.
to.
Yeah.
But not in this game, I tell you what. No Seahawks defender earned a coverage grade from PFF over 66.5 in this game. That's a D. There were 3 defensive pass interference penalties in this game on badly underthrown deep balls from Jordan Love. This team just feels very inconsistent, and they just don't have like a strong-voiced superstar leader on the roster
Right.
or in the coaching staff. Like I feel like some of the best teams, they have like somebody who's gonna like rip them a new asshole,
Yeah.
and then get them back to playing well. But like Gino's kind of a quiet guy.
Yeah. Laid
And,
back.
yeah, he's not like a loud guy. They don't really have a superstar wide receiver. I mean, I think JSN is eventually going to be considered that, and he's going to be like the leader on this team.
I
but
think
like,
so too.
there's nobody to really grab everybody by the seat of the pants and
There's
stand
no
them back up.
Marshawn Lynch for him anymore.
No,
Not
exactly,
at all. No Jamal Adams for
exactly.
him anymore.
Yeah, he would definitely yell at them.
Yeah.
Even if this team makes the playoffs, I just don't think they have the fire right now to even win a playoff game.
They don't look like it.
No,
They don't pass the eye test for me. That's for darn sure.
One team that does pass the eye test, the Packers.
Yeah.
But right off the top, I'm sick and tired of the fucking Jordan Love stuff. Everybody got to watch the Packers offense on national television on Sunday Night Football this week, and I hope they could easily realize early in the game that Jordan Love isn't the one driving this ship. Josh Jacobs had 8 straight touches to start this game.
He's very good at football.
He's very good at football.
Yeah.
The Packers started out the game with a 10-play, 63-yard touchdown drive where Josh Jacobs had 7 carries, 27 rushing yards, 2 receptions, 17 receiving yards, and 1 rush touchdown. Jordan Love contributed one 4-yard rush.
Yeah.
So the rest of the game, Jordan Love went on to contribute 16 of 17 passing with 134 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown on passes less than 10 yards through the air, with 9 of those passes behind the line of scrimmage. On passes greater than 10 yards down the field, he went just 4 of 9 for 95 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown. His receivers contributed 148 yards after the catch in this game. Now, obviously, Jordan Love played a clean game in this one, and I give him a lot of hate. He didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
But this is what I've always said about Jordan Love. This offense is simple for Jordan Love, like every other Shanahan-style offense. So how much credit can I really give him for this? Whenever you're throwing the ball 9 times behind the line of scrimmage, like Tua does, Tua doesn't get credit.
Yep.
Tua doesn't deserve credit. Why does Jordan Love deserve credit?
Yeah.
I mean, you see Tua, Brock, CJ, they're not in my top 10 quarterbacks for this season or even before this season. And then when we see that Love, whenever he throws it deep down the field, he's just not accurate.
He's helped a lot by his receivers. Christian Watson's a stud. He threw, I think it was a mix between super good catch and pretty decent throw to Romeo Doubs in the end zone. Like that was a dart.
I feel like whenever I watch Jordan Love throw most of the time, what I see is like a lot of the time I find myself saying like, "Wow, that was a nice catch," more than I say like, "Wow, that was a nice throw." Like that ball, he just kind of he does that thing. He just lobs it up there. And when Romeo Doubs runs under it, makes a really nice catch there.
Yeah.
He did have one really nice deep ball to Christian Watson in this game.
Yeah,
that one was nice. A beauty. But then every other time, he just can't hit his receiver in stride. I mean, rarely does he put the ball in a bucket while his receiver is at full speed. Mm-hmm. Like we see Stafford throwing through tight windows and hitting his receivers in stride.
Yeah.
He's crazy. I mean, he just has limitations that people seem to look at past. But when you really analyze him every week, you can see that these things constantly happen. But he just kind of carries this view and aura around him that is, for some reason, better than what Tua, Purdy, or Stroud get, and that just pisses me off. Yep. People just view Jordan Love as better than those guys, but I'm sorry, that's just not true.
Yep.
Watch the tape.
Yeah.
But overall, I'll stop ranting on Jordan Love because overall, this Packers offense, they are just so consistent. They basically are the opposite of the Seahawks. Jordan Love does do a good job at moving this offense. I'm just saying he's not the captain. He's just not the driver here.
Yeah.
You basically know that every game the Packers are going to score points. Like maybe not a crazy amount of points, but they're just steady.
Yeah, for sure.
They're steady. Their offense just works and clicks together. So hats off to Matt LaFleur, the real guy who should be getting the credit, because seemingly every single week he's making his team a force that is just tough to stop.
Yeah, and when you got Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, when you got Josh
You got a
Jacobs,
running game.
Mm-hmm.
It's all different.
9 out of the first 10 plays, he was touching the ball.
Yeah.
He's a stud.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, that's about it for that game.
Yeah. Here's another game I don't really have. It's kind of similar. I don't really have many thoughts on it. Bears-Vikings. Vikings beat them 30-12, and it was just an absolute... It was all Vikings. The Vikings defense was just wreaking havoc all game long, and the Bears could not get anything going. Caleb Williams ended up with 191 pass yards and a touchdown, but not much else. He would move it, but then Minnesota's defense was just relentless this game. They ended up with a couple of sacks. They had they just had a lot of stops. It felt like a lot of tackles, a lot of stops, and just drive stallers in general. I think they forced one fumble, or maybe not forced, but they had one fumble recovery by Blake Cashman, who I actually talked about last week.
Yeah, it was Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
who fumbled
Caleb Williams fumbled it. But so the Vikings side, they still look good on offense. The Bears defense may stink, but Justin Jefferson 7 for 73 and a touchdown, pretty good. Jordan Addison 7 for 63. T.J. Hawkinson 5 for 52. Aaron Jones was 18 for 86 and a touchdown. Cam Akers even had a touchdown thrown in there. So their offense was clicking. They were going. Sam Darnold was 24 for 40, 231 yards, touchdown and a pick. So their offense was going pretty well, and their defense just really is what backed it up. The Bears, I don't know. They're just struggling. Their only touchdown was near the end of the fourth quarter that came after a blocked punt that they had, which was a really good play. But I think the only reason I'm bringing that up is because that allowed them to start around the Vikings 30-yard line. So they had a super short field in pretty much garbage time to try to score that touchdown. They went for 2 for some reason, which I don't get, but neither here nor there.
Yeah, I don't know.
It didn't matter. Yeah, Bears are just on the struggle bus right now. Still, and DeAndre Swift, he was 19 for 79, so not the worst day, but he started out incredibly slow.
Yeah, it's been a rough year for him. This is one of his better games.
Yeah, pretty much. Keenan Allen, still a stud, and DJ Moore. Keenan Allen was 6 for 82, and he had that touchdown. DJ Moore was 8 for 46. Rome Odunze had a couple catches, 2 for 39, but their Chicago offense was just slow. Caleb Williams looked almost uncomfortable all game a little bit, just because I think, at least I've talked about it before. I mean, the Vikings defense is one of the best in the league this year, and they play relentless, ruthless. They get sacks, get pressures, and it was too much for Chicago to handle and try to come back from.
Yeah, Caleb Williams has been sacked a league-leading 58 times this year. That is 13 sacks, more than the second-place person, C.J. Stroud, with 45.
That doesn't help win football games.
No. It reminds me a lot of Sam Howell last year. I mean, you get hit so many times, it just, messes with you. Like, you throw in interceptions. You don't want to make any more mistakes. You're just, you see an open receiver, but you're, reluctant to kind of whip it out there.
To let it ride,
Yeah, so he's just getting hit so many times, man. He's doing everything. He's trying.
He is trying. He doesn't look the absolute worst. He's not the reason they're losing games.
But he still makes a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, so Bears, obviously, they're 4-10. Doesn't matter this year. But on the Vikings side, they moved to 12-2, and they're tied for their division lead.
They are. Lions are hanging on.
Division in the NFC North.
Lions are hanging on by the fact that they won the first meeting between the Vikings and
that NFC North has to be the best division. I mean, Lions, Vikings, Packers.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I mean,
that's crazy.
That definitely trumps the AFC North now with the Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, because Bengals have just been unfortunate.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that division, man, that's a tight one. It's going to be interesting to see. One of them's clinched, right? Well, they both clinched.
Yeah, they both clinched.
Yeah, Lions, Vikings are clinched.
I don't think Packers technically haven't clinched yet.
Packers haven't yet.
But basically, they're going to make it.
Yeah. Steelers have clinched a playoff berth.
Ooh.
Even though they lost. So that's hilarious.
Yeah, I know. That's weird. They got to watch themselves because they might not win this division, or Steelers.
Yeah, definitely. Man, I don't want to go back to that game. Let's go to our second Monday night.
Yeah, my Falcons.
Yeah,
my Falcons. We'll talk about the Falcons last because we're going to start with bad note, end with a good note, because we got some news that really made me happy, and I've been calling for a couple weeks. But Falcons went into Las Vegas, won an ugly, terrible, unfun to watch game against the Raiders. It was 15-9. The Raiders, I guess a takeaway that you can have for them, I think I was maybe a year early on my quote, I think this Raiders team can have a top 12 offense take that I had like after week 3 or something.
Yeah,
There
probably.
are parts that do impress me on this Raiders team.
Yep.
No running backs, though.
Nope.
They should all be working at McDonald's.
Yep.
But I think Jacoby Myers is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. He's tough.
He
He's gets
incredibly
open,
tough.
man.
Yep.
He didn't really have a catch in this game because Raiders couldn't move the ball until the last drive where Desmond Ridder finally decided to complete a pass. Mm-hmm. But he was like that whole last drive, making tough catches in traffic, taking hits.
Yeah.
He gets open. Week 12, 10 receptions, 121 receiving yards. Week 13, 6 catches, 97 receiving yards. Week 14, 7 catches, 67 receiving yards.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's solid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think he's a wide receiver 1, but I think if you can get another downfield threat on this team, that Jacoby Myers can be a good wide receiver 2.
I think so, too.
Brock Bowers, best receiving tight end in the league already.
By far.
I've already said that a week or 2 ago. Michael Mayer is at least solid, too. I think that they could be a real good two tight end set team.
Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. If they could just watch some film on them, see how they do it, and then do this thing. But there are also some good pieces on the O-line, like left tackle Colton Miller is one of the top in the league. Center Jackson Powers-Johnson has been good this year as a rookie out of Oregon. And left guard Jordan Meredith has played really well this season. He ranks as the 9th best guard this season according to PFF. You wouldn't think that coming from a Raiders team, but their offensive line has actually been pretty darn solid. Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, the defense has Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins when they can be healthy again next year. But really, the only other piece who's been impressive is linebacker Robert Spillane.
I love Bobby Spillane.
Bobby Spillane, man. I was honestly kind of questioning when they brought him in and head coach Antonio Pierce wanted to make him the main man in the middle, like the leader of this defense. But because Antonio Pierce hasn't made a whole lot of smart decisions this season.
Sure.
But damn, he was right about Robert Spillane. I mean, Robert Spillane has been really good. He's just got a nose for hunting down the ball carrier. Yeah. He's 6th in the NFL in solo tackles this season. Just plays hard. He's a stud. He's not even a small guy either. He's kind of a bigger linebacker. For him to be able to do these things and really make this many tackles is pretty crazy. From a guy
He's very good.
He's not really thought of to be like a speed demon running around the field. But if this team can just add more pieces to the core, including the big one of getting a good quarterback to build around, the future shouldn't be that gloomy or dark at all. If they can just build it right, which is really hard for this Raiders team because they've been in a rebuilding mode for forever.
Yep.
But if they can just do it right. Let's talk about the Falcons because I wrote most of this recap before the news came out. But here, I was pissed off, and here's what I wrote. I said, wow. If you can't trust Kirk Cousins to throw the ball against the Raiders defense, how do you expect him to make a playoff run if you can even get there? The ESPN commentators Dan Orlovsky and Louis Riddick were blown away all night long.
They were.
Which, by the way, this was a great commentating crew. I love these guys.
Yeah, those guys are good.
These guys are throwing shade all night long. Like, I'm so tired of hearing Tony Romo and Chris Collinsworth just glaze everybody. No matter how bad of a season you've had, you're going to get glazed. Like, no, these guys are actually telling the truth.
Yep.
These guys were actually calling out players who were sucking and saying what they did wrong on the broadcast. It was amazing. Obviously, they weren't like straight up insulting the guys, but they were speaking truthfully finally.
Yeah, yep.
When someone had a bad play, they called it out. They said who did that wrong.
Yeah, it was awesome. Love Dano.
Yeah, like I will never forget watching a Lions game this season on Thursday Night Football with Kirk Herbstreit saying how rookie Terrion Arnold was a slam dunk draft pick for the Lions this season. Bullshit.
Yeah.
He's tied for 2nd in the NFL with 10 penalties on the season and has earned a PFF coverage grade of 44 or 49.5 this season. That's even worse than Joey Porter Jr. And Dante Jackson. So he's ranked out of all the corners who have like a good amount of snaps. He is 94 out of 97. But anyways, I love this crew of Dano and Louis Riddick.
Yeah.
They spoke their minds, and I was absolutely loving it. But anyways, Kirk is not confident in what he's seeing. He's seeing ghosts out there.
Yep.
finally threw a touchdown pass in this game, then later threw a bad interception to a receiver who was not open.
No.
And so the Falcons are clearly not trusting him. They only allowed him to throw 17 times in this game. The commentators were spot on all night long, continuously pointing these things out. They said how this team is loaded with weapons at the skill positions. This Raiders defense has no Max Crosby, no Christian Wilkins. And me and you couldn't even remember any of the names of their cornerbacks last week.
No.
That just shows you how bad this defense is. Yet the Falcons still refuse to put the ball into Kirk's hands.
Yep.
And he proved exactly why. But
True.
if there were any game to let him sling it and just try to get some confidence back, why not against the Raiders? You're probably going to win the game basically no matter what, which they almost lost. But they also pointed out that the Falcons cannot feel good coming off this win. They honestly almost lost. Raheem Morris, after the game, talking about Kirk Cousins, he said, quote, "He's got to play better. We have to find a way to get him to play better. We have to play better at the quarterback position." Then Raheem Morris was asked on Tuesday if Kirk Cousins is still their starting QB. He said, "We just got back to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And back to practice. We still have to go through that process. All those things will happen over the course of the week. We didn't play well enough at the quarterback position," he said again. Yeah, no shit, Raheem.
No kidding.
You didn't see this the past few weeks? Or he's now 1-9 over the past 5, or 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions over the past 5 games. This is what everyone can see.
Yep.
But man, this team is so aggravating. Another bad Kirk game, and so I'll say it again. Start Michael Penix. Well, fellas, turns out there is a light at the end of the tunnel for this team. Because, boom! Michael Penix has been announced.
Falcons are back.
He's back. Michael Penix has been announced as a starter for the rest of the season. Now, this might be... I truly do believe in this. I think the Falcons win the last 3 games of the season, including Week 17 at the Commanders. I think they finished 10-7. Who knows if the Buccaneers lose another game to give the Falcons another shot at the division lead? Because if the Bucs went out, they finish 11-6. But if the Falcons beat the Commanders there in Week 17, Commanders have 6 losses now.
Yeah.
That could very well be for the 7th wild card, 7th playoff spot, 3rd wild card. I think Michael Penix comes in and takes care of business in this offense that I think he can run well. But man, I'm just excited to watch the Falcons again because I feel like I have a quarterback that I believe in. Like I believed in Kirk beginning of the year, no doubt. Turns out I was wrong. I thought Kirk was going to look better coming off an injury.
Well, so did the Falcons. They gave him $180 million. So.
Yeah, what a mess that they're in now. Man,
Hey,
that's
all you got to do is just think about, we could be Deshaun Watson and the Browns.
It's always worse. Yeah.
It wasn't all guaranteed.
No, it was like $100 million guaranteed.
Yeah, I think it was exactly. You were right.
Yep.
$100 million guaranteed. So basically, that's 2 years guaranteed.
Yeah.
So you're eating. Just that's why I love Sean Payton. What he did.
Yep.
Cut Russell Wilson, get him out of town. Broncos are a playoff team. You got to know when to cut bait. I don't care how much money you're going to lose.
Yep.
It's about making your team better.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins obviously wasn't making your team better. Sorry, Kirk. I might cut you. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they could really use his mentorship to mentor Michael Penix, but I'm excited from the time that we saw Michael Penix be scouted.
Yeah.
From the time that I was scouting him.
Oh, yeah.
He's so accurate.
He's a playmaker.
He's a playmaker. He slings it.
He
He's
does.
perfect for this McVay-style system where they just sling the ball like
Throw
crazy.
to Drake London.
Throw to Drake London.
Yeah.
You got Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney.
Ray McLeod.
And if you can open up the pass game, sweet. You got freaking Bijan Robinson in the backfield.
Yeah. Yeah, he's playing.
He's still very good.
Still very good. Still a top 2 running back in the league.
Yeah.
Probably only behind Saquon. But anyways, I'm excited to watch the Falcons again. And yeah, I think they finished 10-7. Planting my flag now. I think they beat Jaden Daniels in Week 17.
Okay. I don't know about that, but
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. All right, that wraps that. Let's move on to glazing some folks this week. Getting right into it.
You want to go first? You probably had some time to look since.
Yeah. So I am going to start on. I'm going to pick an offensive player. I would obviously do Josh Allen.
I was gonna say.
I've already professed my love.
Right.
So
that's fair.
He's
That's fair.
He's so good. We already know he's so good. So I'm going to bring it to some other guy here by the name of someone that I already forgot. Hold on, loading. Loading.
I can go first. I got
Okay.
somebody. I got some guy loaded up. I got an offensive guy, and it's a guy that I'm kind of rooting for, just on the side of history. It's Mike Evans. Dude, Mike Evans, baby.
Yep.
Come back from injury. He missed, I want to say, 4 weeks this season.
3 or 4. One of the
Anyways, he's
Something
now
like that.
251 yards away from having his 11th straight 1,000-yard season. In this week, he had 9 catches on 11 targets, 159 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns.
He's a dog.
As I'm saying, like, I love watching the Falcons, but I also love watching the Bucs. So I'm rooting for both these NFC South teams to make the playoffs, honestly. Because I want it. Well, obviously this record has to have. I don't know if it's even a record, but it's just crazy to see 11 straight seasons.
Keeps doing it.
Keeps doing it. Yeah, I want to see Mike Evans get that 1,000 yards. And I love watching Baker sling it because he's a madman out there. He might make some bad plays for sure. He's guaranteed to, but he plays with a chip on his shoulder. And he's going to be slinging that ball to Mike Evans no matter what.
Yeah, which is why that's the guy that I forgot somehow. I was picking Baker this week.
Okay, yeah, all
Baker.
Bucks.
I mean, whenever you got Baker playing Baker football, which is almost every week this year, it's hard to hate. It's entertaining. It's
Baker
great.
Football has a lot of different definitions.
It does, but Baker football this week was pretty good. Good completion percentage, 22 for 27, 288 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, but who doesn't throw a pick nowadays?
Exactly.
So, yeah, whenever Baker's playing like this, easy guy to root for. Big fan of his. And when it's just fun to watch him sling it. He plays with such a confidence and a swagger and just, literally putting his body on the line like we talk about. Like, there was one run that I remember. Maybe it was his only run this game, but no, I guess it wasn't. But there was one run where he decided to take it. It was like 3rd and 6 or something like that. He got hit with like 4 yards to go, and he's still fighting like his life is on the line.
No.
And there's no shot he's making it. He's getting tackled by like 2 guys. But whenever you see your quarterback doing that, it's awesome.
Absolutely.
I'm going to pick a defensive guy here too. It's kind of flying under the radar, but he just keeps sticking out to me. So he's might not have the stats yet, but you always see him around the play. He might not get credited with the pressure or whatnot because he's not the first one there because he's part of an incredible team. 2nd-year guy, super young.
Damn
kid.
it! I was gonna say, tell me Devondre Sweat.
No, because I was leaving that one to you because I thought you might pick him.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it's hard not to. But this guy flies a little on the radar. 2nd-year guy out of Georgia, 23 years old. He's improving a lot just from his first year. Surrounded by his other Georgia buddies. Philadelphia Eagles, Nolan Smith Jr. He's
about damn time he does something.
Yeah, it is. But like last year was kind of slow.
Yeah.
But now he's learning, getting into the swing of things. He's a super young kid. He's 23 years old, and he always seems to be around the play, no matter what. Like I think he had
5 pressures, 1 sack in this game.
That's what I thought. He had 1 sack this game, and he's got up to like 5.5 on the year. So like I said, stats aren't crazy, because he's on part of this all-star defense for the Philadelphia Eagles. But I think he deserves some shine because I liked him coming out. He's got a really good attitude, really good kid. And
he is.
Easy guy to root for, and it's nice to see him doing some work, even though it's against my Steelers. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he always seems to be around the play. Really good game this past week.
PFF's 7th graded edge on the week.
Yeah, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Oh man, there were so many good defensive performances this week.
There was, yeah.
And I feel bad picking. Like I honestly wasn't even gonna pick Devondre Sweat, but we talked about him already.
Yeah.
Great game from him.
We both want to glaze Devondre Sweat.
Oh, I love Devondre Sweat, man. On the week, he was just the 9th graded overall player, defensive player according to PFF. He like on top of that fumble recovery and stiff arm that he had 4 pressures himself as a 370-pound man.
Crazy.
He had a sack as well. Whenever you're getting rushed by a 370-pound guy, that's got to be a scary feeling.
Yeah,
There is no way that it can feel good whenever he sacks you.
No.
Like, there is some edge rusher.
No way.
Yeah, TJ Watt is 250.
Yeah.
Imagine him carrying a 120-pound dumbbell. If you put a weight vest on him that's 120 pounds, it's
Oh,
crazy. But I love T'Vondre Sweat. He was my guy for me way back in the day, earlier this season. I also was going to talk about Nick Bonito.
Yes, I thought about him too. He deserves some shine.
Yeah, because he had that
pick six.
Pick six. I was considered like a fumble 6 because I guess it was backwards.
Backwards pass.
Adonai Mitchell threw a pick though, basically.
He did, yeah.
On a trick play that just didn't work. But Nick Bonito has been playing like crazy. He was the number 7 rated player overall on the week according to PFF. But I gotta go with PFF got it right here, and it's a guy who I know you love. You and Carson both love. He plays for the Packers, and he is the best linebacker there. He was PFF's number 1 rated player on the week. I don't always just follow what PFF says, but they got it completely right here because Edgerrin Cooper, rookie linebacker, out of Texas A&M, had himself one hell of a week.
I was a big fan of him. I think he might have been one of my guys, but I was
a
big fan of him.
He was one of your my guys, yeah. He was the best linebacker in the class by far. He wasn't a my guy for me, but like you can just see watching the film of all these linebackers coming out. It's like Edge is the best
by far,
and he showed it in this game. Packers defense was a menace, like all together as a team, but he played a huge part in it. 3 total pressures. He had 1 sack. He had 1 pass deflection. He also had 1 pick in this game, filling up the stat sheet all around. He was great.
Yeah, absolute dog.
Yeah, I love watching Edgerrin Cooper. This guy,
Me too.
He reads quarterbacks' eyes. He knows where you're going to run. He stops the ball carrier. 93.8 PFF grade in this game.
Dang,
Very good game from Edgerrin Cooper. I hope he can build off of it.
Whew, me too. That wraps it up. Thank you guys for watching. Next episode, we'll be doing our previews and all that good stuff for next week. So tune into that one. Thank you guys for watching in advance, and we'll catch you on that one.